Hey guys, today we're talking about the seller property disclosure statement. So just as a reminder, the property disclosure statement is required for all residential real estate transfers of less than 4 residential dwelling units. There are just a couple of exceptions where disclosures do not have to be made, and for most real estate transfers, they do not apply. But just so that you can see, this list of 10 are the cases where a disclosure would not be required. Some examples of that would be transfers between spouses or between spouses from divorce, transfers by a corporation or between co-owners, or that of a court order, and of new construction that has never been occupied when it meets certain restrictions. But in most cases, the seller disclosure is required, even for flips and investors. So unless they qualify for one of these 10 exceptions, one must be done. So I'm going to show you how you can use the seller property disclosure electronically and send that to sellers ahead of time for them to review and also potentially to complete online and not having to do that then in person. So I would pull up the seller property disclosure statement. We would want to send this as a best practice separate from all the rest of your listing documentation, because we want the seller to be able to actually complete this and sign it, and we don't want to give that same level of permission for all the other documents like the listing contract that would be going along. So you'd want to send this completely separately. You would hit the share button just on this document, and Dotloop is going to automatically assume that you want to send it to both sellers or however many sellers you have automatically, and it's going to assume that they're ready to sign it. So in this case, you're going to need to make some changes. You can see here that we have Kim Kardashian and Kanye West getting ready to sell their home, and I need to send them a seller property disclosure statement that they can complete and send back to me. So I have presumably had this conversation with Kanye and Kim, and we have discussed and decided that Kanye is the person who is planning to complete this documentation for the home. Because of that, I'm going to remove Kim Kardashian from the list, and I'm going to change Kanye's permission from can sign to can fill and sign, which gives him permission now to go through this whole entire document and check off all the boxes and complete the line items that he would need to complete in its entirety, as well as sign the form. So I would put in a custom message that would say as much, Dear Kanye, here is your documentation for the disclosure. Please go through and fill this out. The only thing that they need to really understand here is that it has to be done all in one sitting. Once you start doing a seller disclosure, you can't decide halfway through that you need to get up and make dinner and leave it sit. There's no saving capability midway through the document. So they'd have to be prepared to sit down and complete it all at once. And then they would go through and sign, and once it was signed, it would come back to me. At that point, then I could come back knowing that Kanye has completed this form and signed it, and then this time I can share it only with Kim, because Kanye has already done his part, and it would show that it has already done his part. So now I would just send that to Kim with just the can sign capability, because there is no more need now for anyone to fill it moving forward. And then I would share it that way as well. And that is how you can get the seller property disclosure signed electronically through Dotloop. If you have any questions or concerns or you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@homesale.com.